How mitakiapi. Trokar le ampetuki le chante hetaha. Iuskia nape uchiuswa pelo. Le miacha. Ikranchola. Ake ikranchola tipi ki. Elwahi na maza skanshkan oapre wanji lakotia oglakapi. Na lakowichocha ki he iwoglakinkta. Yellow. Dweki hechi duktel anachupta na kapiki. Hena wopila tranka iprelo. Hello, my relatives. First of all, from my heart on this day, I extend a hearty handshake. This is me again. I have come to the radio station, and for 1 hour I will speak on the Lakota language and culture. Those that from wherever they sit and listen, I send my thanksgiving to you. So today is a beautiful day, and we're going to have a nice program. They said today is a 19th episode, April 15th, 2026. And just to review the last program, we talked about the 150th anniversary of the battle at the Little Bighorn in Montana. Then we also had the story of Blood Clot, which is a creation type of story. And then we had Lakota Sentences, Group 13, Lakota Sentences for Beginners. And then we had Iktomi and the Arrowhead. And then a story about Iktomi and the Coyote. So that was what we did last week, which was a story, 3 stories, and some information on what's happening up north. It's still going to happen, getting closer to that time. So hopefully we'll get some more information to you on what is going to happen in Little Bighorn. And at this time, we'd like to offer the rendering of the Serenity Prayer. Trunkashila wachwala makuyo, daku waglutrokcha oakihi, shnehena omakiayo. Daku waglutrokcha oakihi, hena washake maku yo. Na omakiaki, dena u woksape hechil wagluhakta yellow. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that is the prayer that we will start with, and then it's a simple prayer, but again, it's a powerful prayer. I have to remove my headgear. My cowboy hat was getting in the way of this equipment. I'm kind of a cowboy, so no, I'm not. I'm just teasing. But you think about the culture. I think I was going to talk about at one time, I wanted to talk about the 16 values, and I did talk about them. And then recently I found a piece of paper, actually 2 pages, and one was the 7 values of Lakota life. And they jumped out at me when I was digging through my storage. It just said, pick me, take me. And then, so on one side it says 7 values of Lakota life, and the other side, Lakota values. And I think it's similar to the 16 virtues. It's pretty much in the same frame of thought. But we'll hopefully get this to you. And these ones have definition to them written. I'm not sure who's produced this or published this. Fancy script. Wochikya, number 1, praying, finding spirituality by communicating with your higher power. This is communication between you and Tonkashila without going through another person or spirit. That's Wochikya. Number 2 is Wa'ohula, respect for self, higher power, family, community, all life. Number 3 is Wa'unshila, caring and compassion, love, caring, and or concern for one another in a good way, especially for the family, the old ones, the young ones, the orphans, the ones in mourning, the sick ones, and the ones working for the people. Number 4 is Wowichake, honesty and truth with yourself, higher power, and others with sincerity. Number 5 is Wawokia, generosity and helping without expecting anything in return, giving from the heart. Number 6 is Wachwala, humility. We have a spirit. We are no better nor less than others. And the last one is Woksape, wisdom. Practice with knowledge comes wisdom. So that is what I found this paper in my files, in my library, my catalogs, and I just wanted to share that because it talks about 7 values of Lakota life, and we're talking about culture. Culture is what we are all about here on this program, hopefully. And like I said, on the other side of the paper, so it's double-sided printed, and it says, all of these ways are practiced by the people, including 1, seek and follow your personal spiritual path. 2, respect. 3, seek and follow the wisdom of the elders. 4, generosity. 5, courage. 6, fortitude. 7, compassion. 8, honesty. And 9, industriousness. For the following 4 groups, each had certain values they adhered to, which helped maintain order in society. And I'll just read them for you. For children, there's 4 items. Practice spirituality. Respect all of life. And it says, Mitakuye Oyasi. Number 2, seek and follow the wisdom of your elders. Seek your life purpose. Number 3 is generosity. Number 4 is honesty. So that's for children. And children are very innocent, so they're really honest in what they see. They could look you straight in the face and tell you what they see and about you or what you're doing, and put you back in your spot, so to speak. But they are wakha, izahena wakampelo. They said they're also sacred. And at one time, I even did it too. I said, waka owoju, a sacred garden, so to speak. And I don't know how I got to that conversation, but I heard a lot of elders talk about different translations of children and that they're very sacred. And so we must keep that in mind and treat them as such. Okay, for women, number one, there might be repetitive stuff, but I'll just go over it. What's written here, practice spirituality, respect for all life, mitakuye oyasi, industriousness, compassion, and generosity. For men, again, number one is practice spirituality, respect of all of life, mitakuye oyasi. Number two is fortitude. Number three is generosity. Number four is courage. And the last category, grouping, is for leaders. Number one is to practice spirituality, respect all of life, mitakuye oyasi. Number two is compassion. Number three is generosity. And number four is honesty. So this is a very valuable tool. I'm glad I have it in my possession. I'm going to put it in the archives. And if you see me driving around town, you'll see a bunch of plastic containers in the back of my truck. And that's my moving library. I'm moving from one place to the next, but it's also good that I can do that because sometimes it's good to wobelecha. I know some of you probably know what I mean. You put something somewhere and you forget where it is. You forgot to label that container or that box or that suitcase. And so you have to go back and wobelecha. You have to dig around. And when you find it, you're just as surprised as the first day you got it. Oh, what a beautiful thing it is. I found some promotional items promoting Shiner River Sioux Tribe, some tourist items. When I had a job, people would come into the office and sell me what I call trinkets. No disrespect. But I always had to have a little extra tucked away in case somebody comes and wants to sell a little handmade craft item, and it's probably a one of a kind, and it's not mass produced, and it's special. And you make a contact, you form a relationship with those vendors, and after a while they know when you're able to purchase, or when there's pressing things where they have to pay their bills and stuff. So I used to keep some extra currency. And then when I put them away in a drawer or filing cabinet or box or wherever, and then they accumulate, and then pretty soon I have a bunch of souvenirs. And a lot of times they're small and probably for young people, but it's good to give those on, pass them on to somebody. And I'm not in it to make money. I'm just here to help a fellow person out. I grew up watching artists. Where I live right now, there's a lot of artists that live in that community, and that's one of their go-tos is creating art, and they bring it up to town, and I shouldn't say they, I could put myself in there too. We come up to try to get something. And a lot of times it's underpriced. It's not like a very good market here locally. And so I really commend those people that put the long hours into doing the work that they do, and then they put it out for people to appreciate. And that's what I mentioned before, is that when you create art, you create a piece of art and you set it out there, and people learn to appreciate. So that is something that I just want to share with you. I have a book that I found also, and it's a really reliable resource. And part of my program, I talked about, mental health. Now, how do we deal with our mental health? I shared some information where I did some mental health programming, or as an employee of a mental health program, and did some work. And this book here that I wanted to reference is an older book. It's considered an outpatient treatment for people with stimulant use disorders, a matrix intensive outpatient treatment. And it's a client's handbook. And it was published, I believe, in 2006. So it's about 20 years old, but it's a good, valuable resource that I like. I keep it close by. And one of the things that is probably hard to talk about is, our lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do we have? When I grew up, our lifestyle was drinking, alcohol, a little bit of drugging, and whatever came with that lifestyle. It was kind of like a wild, I think I was probably part of the hippie days. Not really full blown, because didn't pick up that good or that strong hair. But I remember that during the hippie days and Vietnam War and all that, and rodeos, grew up on a ranch, so there was a lot of rodeo lifestyle. And when you get together, this is springtime, so you'll see a lot of ranchers, or you'll hear of a lot of ranchers talking about branding. They're going to put a brand on their calves so they can keep track of them, give them some shots so they'll be healthy. But in order to do that, they have to hire some help. Some of them are not self-serving. You can't just push a button and a machine can't just go on, put a brand wherever you want on a cow or calf and give it a shot and push another button and it releases it. You go to the next animal. It's probably, some people probably could do that pretty much, but it's pretty expensive too. So locally they'll be looking for young people to help. They call them wrestling. Wrestle a calf, or if you know how to rope, you have a good rope horse, then you might be in a good place to rent yourself out, hire yourself out, and go from one ranch to the next and do that kind of work. But also there's an element of risk, because they look docile, they look tame, but they're really wild animals, I think. They could run over you, they could kick you, they could butt you, and they could be mean. And the mama cows are going to protect their babies, so you always got to watch them and be careful. And when you wrestle a calf, it's not like wrestling a human. You're wrestling a calf with 4 legs, and they'll kick you, try to kick to get away. And so as you're holding the legs so that they can put a brand on it, and it's quite a challenge. And after doing it repetitively, over and over, you master it. But it's not you don't really need too much skill. Just need some strength and some endurance, because after you do it a few times, you get tired if you go to a few roundups or brandings. You slowly get the hang of it, but you get tired out after a while, because each time there's probably 100 head or more, and it's best to do the branding when the calves are little, because if you don't do it when they're little, then you have to wrestle them when they're big, almost yearlings, and then you have some problems. But the thing about the lifestyle is that, and this is just an example, it's not saying that this is the main cause of problems, but a lot of times in order to pay the help, the families would sponsor a meal, and they might put some liquid refreshment out there. And we only have limited police force, so nobody could go out there and monitor every gathering, whether it's ranch or town gathering or wherever. There's other, with the weather being nice, people are going to go outdoors and have picnics and gatherings. They might do some sports activities or go fishing or just vacationing, being tourists. But there's always a chance that there might be involvement of unnatural elements that will come to surface. So that's what I want to do at this time. Is imagine yourself having a problem with alcohol or drugs or some kind of stimulant. You become a user. The first part of your process is experimental. You experiment. Someone says, here, try this out. This will make you feel good. This will solve all your problems. This will make you stronger, better looking, a better dancer, whatever, better cowboy, better athlete. And you experiment once or twice. First contact will probably be a terrible taste to your mouth, or, maybe whatever you ingest will go to your system, and your reaction to it will not be positive. But it might be because of peer pressure, or, maybe you're curious, you're innocent, you want to try things, you want to belong to somebody's group. And so, experimental, then you go, once you like it, you go back and you become you'll use it. And pretty soon there's an addictive process to it. And then later on, you'll become a user, and then you can change your lifestyle. It changes your lifestyle. So you crave that. There's a craving for that, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, inhalants. And then after using it, you start to abuse it. Not only what you're using, but also your body, yourself. And so there's a time in your life cycle, or your cycle of misuse, you'll have to think about quitting. I don't like this lifestyle. I want to get out of this lifestyle, but I can't, or I won't, because I want to be just like my cholas. I want to hang in there with them. You tell yourself, I can quit anytime. in reality, it's hard. The more you use, they say you build up a tolerance level. You build up a tolerance too. So when you ingest or drink, you drink a certain amount and it gets you that euphoric feeling. It gets you that high. And you like that high. And it takes away all your troubles. Takes away your inhibitions. But there's a downside to it. It only lasts for a certain time, then you have to. It kind of, the effects wear off. And you want to get that high, get that level. So you have to try a little bit more. You know, me, I start off with not even a can of beer. And I was in euphoria. Just not even a half a can of beer, and I was feeling the spirits. But I like that feeling. It made me think about that I was somebody different. It made me feel different. It gave me a power to be loud. I was just a quiet boy. I don't think I was, but I'll just say, be loud and proud and let everybody know that I'm around. Wamayang kapo, lemiacha. Wahialo. Look at me. This is me. I have arrived. But in reality, I was just projecting, absorbing, self-absorbing. So with that, you know, I needed more and more to get that euphoric feeling. And pretty soon, I didn't have any money. I used to be in a boarding school. How in the heck am I going to handle this if I'm in a boarding school? I remember on Fridays in the football season, my dad would come and watch the football games, and he would park up by the high school. And he wouldn't pay attention to me, but he paid attention to my older brothers. So I'd be sitting below the door where on the driver's side. And then every once in a while I'd ask him a question and he wouldn't pay attention to me. He'd just laugh and talk to my brothers and talk to the older kids. And my goal at that time was not to get a drink. I didn't know they were drinking at that time, but my goal was to borrow a quarter. How many of you ever did that in your lifetime, your childhood? Go up to somebody and say, "Can I borrow a quarter?" And a quarter at that time was a lot of money. But sometimes I went back to the dorms when it was time to go in, and I'd be disappointed. Happy that I seen my father, but disappointed because I didn't get to borrow a quarter. Maybe my dad didn't have a quarter. But there's always something. So being in the dorms, you know, it was a challenge. We had to survive, survival skills. But that, at the age of 16, going on for 10 years, that was my lifestyle. And it was hard to get rid of that. Finally, at the end of that decade, I wasted a whole decade. I went to treatment, 40-day treatment. And that's where I had to deal with myself. And I had a counselor. We had group activities. We had classes. We had to do everything in a controlled environment. We couldn't have visitors for 40 days. And we were put through a process of getting us sober, taking care of our bodies and doing other things productive. We couldn't leave the compound the treatment area because they didn't trust us. Or if we did go, I think one day maybe a couple of days out of the week, we'd go to the old school gym where this treatment center was, and we'd have aerobics. There was a lady that taught aerobics. And we'd get into physical activity. But everybody that went there, health, it was a health program or opportunity for the community. So everybody knew who we were. We were the folks at the treatment center. And then we had to go to meetings, public meetings. They call them AA groups or recovery groups. And we had to include, personal hygiene, individual counseling, where we start looking at creating our new life without alcohol or drugs. And one time was dedicated towards the end of the cycle was family. You could bring in a family member and they could spend the day or spend the afternoon with you. But unfortunately, I lived about 4 hours away from the treatment center, so I didn't have no family. But some of the clients that were in treatment, filled in. We had to do role play. And you had to make amends to somebody that you hurt or that you created harm, or maybe someone that was the source of your lifestyle, or somebody that you really held in high regard, that was the protector, the provider, someone that could, you could go to at any time. And so at that time, I didn't know that this was a structured environment. I thought I was just going to breeze right through it and go through a treatment and come back home and go back to my old lifestyle. And I realized that I didn't have no old lifestyle. I didn't have no lifestyle. It was all geared around drinking and maybe some drugging, I don't know. But it wasn't a lifestyle that I was proud of or that was productive. All my friends were friends that I partied with. And when I came out of treatment, in order to make my program work, I had to find aftercare. Aftercare is where, you're on your own. You have to work your program. You have to do something that'll impact your life. If you have children, if you have family, relatives, friends, schoolmates, you don't have to, but you want to do something to make it up to them. And that's where the aftercare treatment. And this client's handbook talks about outpatient treatment. And outpatient, there's two types of treatment. And I'm probably talking like a counselor, but I'm not. But I just wanted to share that. I was in an inpatient treatment center. So I had to be on site. I didn't have the freedom to move from that site. But in the outpatient program, you can commute daily to classes, to gatherings, support groups, fellowships or whatever. So there's a difference, inpatient, outpatient. And then there's, like I said, aftercare. And there's always the possibility of relapse. You're going to relapse. Not if you're going to relapse, it's going to be when. And there's triggers, there's things that are going to set you off. And in your mind, you think you got it under control because you went through treatment. It's not like a concrete answer. You have to work your program. You have to want to be sober. I think I read a little phrase that said, it's no accident that you became sober. It wasn't an accident. You planned it. Just like when you took your first drink or first ingested the first drug, it was you that made that choice. Nobody forced you. Nobody said you have to. You have to do this. So when you made that decision to quit, it was a decision you made. A lot of people that I've heard stories where people say, "Well, I'm just sobering up for my family. I'm just they're all mad at me and they won't give me no money, so I'm just gonna do it for them." And if you do it for somebody else, it's not going to work. You have to do it for yourself. There's other programs. I believe I'd like to commend all the counseling programs, all the counselors, trainers, psychiatrists, therapists, anybody that does any kind of counseling, maybe guidance counselor in schools, career counselings, counselors at the college. It's a lot of listening, a lot of reflecting back what the clients are saying. And once I went through a successful recovery and aftercare, then I was able to realign my goals and start doing things differently. But one of the comments my mother always told me, and I probably mentioned it before, is that, don't get up there in front of people and say that you never drank or you never did drugs. Don't lie to the people, because everybody watches everybody, and especially in a small community. And she said that, some lady got up there and made a statement that her family never touched drugs or never drank. But in reality, my mother said, "Hey, see, Heslo, I know that person. I know that family." And there was a lot of drinking and drugging. So, don't put yourself on a pedestal. One of my brothers, Mani Hotrai, he's passed away, but he was a director of an alcohol program. And he always talked about, don't put anybody on a pedestal. That means, don't worship, don't idolize somebody. Don't, because they're doing good, walking a good path and being sober, don't idolize them. Because when they fall, you're going to fall right with them. And so, Mani Hotran, he did a lot of good things in his time and helped a lot of people. And his words are always reminders to me that we're just one drink away from being on the streets, in the gutters. That's a reminder. So even though we drink, we don't drug, or we don't drink and drug no more, we remind ourselves that we're just one drink away or one drug away from being back on the streets. And so, when I was living on a res, surviving on a res, I want to be a good drunk. I want to be a good drugger, or whatever, druggie. How can you be a good drunk or good drugger or druggist or druggie, drug user? Is there some guidelines? Because I think I failed all the tests. But again, I just wanted to share that. There's a lot of information that came out of this little book here, and I'll refer to it again in the future because it's got a lot of structure to it. And if you want to quit doing what you're doing, if it's not healthy, we can help you. We just got to remind you that you don't have to do it. You don't have to drink. You don't have to drug. We're not forcing you to. Remember that. We love you. And we're going to be there when it's time. When it's time, we'll be there to support you. They say that a person, you could try to help a person as much as you can. But if that person don't want help, then you're just wasting your time. Dakuni chano yakikdishni, wanahu chisni atis. Dakuni yitrokchakdishni. If you're trying to help them and they're not listening, and then there's nothing that can be done. Whenever they're ready, they can quit. Just like me, when I quit, I was ready. One of my kolas, he said, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's a good excuse to quit. Because if you overindulge, you really enjoy that ingestion or drinking, and then you go to an extreme, and then next day comes the after effects. Oh man, hanging over. Oh man, your body's dehydrated. Your head is pounding. You can't move. Stomach's in a bad way. And you try to remember what you did the night before, but you can't even remember because you experienced a blackout. And people come to you and tell you what you did. Oh man, that's embarrassing. Did I really do that? But then you have to accept reality that you probably did it. You just don't remember because your spirits were high. Your spirits are flying. You didn't care. You were living in a moment. You look in your pocket, look in your wallet. There's nothing. You're hungry. You go in the kitchen and look in the refrigerator. There's nothing. Nothing in there. Maybe you spent all your paycheck at the bar or at the party. You were a great host. People said, yeah, let's go to so-and-so's place. But it costs a lot of money to live that lifestyle. And your stories get bigger and better the more you listen to yourself, the greater you are. But then, in reality, you're just creating a false image. But I just want to share that with you because, there's things going to happen this spring, graduations, there's going to be gatherings outside, like I said, and there's always going to be that temptation to do something, to test yourself out. The hardest thing is to say no when someone offers you something to drink or drug. You have to be strong mentally. And I commend all of those that are abstinent, that are sober and working their programs, working the system, working the sobriety. There's probably very few of us that are sober or drug-free. Because recovery is a lifelong process. Each day, there's always that temptation. 11 o'clock every morning, you go over to Mini Mart, go over to that little building and get some spiritual advice, spiritual help. Or later on, if they don't let you go there no more, then you have to go a little further. Go to Dollar Mart and get some aerosols or something. But those are realities of living here, anywhere. You know, your reality, your world is how you make it. And that's the hard part is knowing that, you know, it's out there. That lifestyle's out there. It's not going to leave. You can leave it. You can leave it alone. You can be strong and be proud of yourself. You know, go around, find people that are sober, do things sober. You don't have to go right to the can or the bottle or whatever. Make your family proud. So with that, I want to end there with that comment. And I want to do number 14, group 14. Lakota sentences for beginners, and this is the 14th group. There's 20, and then we'll get into a story. Okay. I wish to speak to you. Wochichiaka wachiksto. Wochichiaka wachi yalo. I have a problem. Woka kija wa bluhaksto. Woka kija wa bluha yalo. This is better than that. Leka isamya washteksto. Leka isamya washte yalo. Number 4, what are you making? Dakcha yakaga he. Dakcha yakaga ho. Oh, this is right in the line of my talk today. Did you get drunk? Ini tomani he. Ini tomani ho. Uh-oh. You are going to die soon. Echani nit inkte ksto. Echani nit inkte yellow. Number 7, we are from Eagle Butte. Wambli paha okita pe ksto. Wambli paha okita pe yellow. Oh, this is again a reminder. He was drunk last night. Happy itomani ksto. Happy itomani yellow. This is arithmetic, primary, pre-K. 2 and 2 are 4. Numpa na numpa ki topa ksto. Numpa na numpa ki topa yellow. Number 10, show me your hands. Ni nape makipazo ye. Ni nape makipazo yo. Number 11, then he went out of the church. Heha tipi waka eta kinapreksto. Heta tipi waka eta kinapre. Yellow. We're moving on to number 12. He's in the house. Tima unksto. Tima unk yellow. And this is a church-related one. Do you want to receive communion? Yutapi waka iachu yachin he. Yutapi waka iachu yachin ho. Number 14, there's a marriage going on in church. Tipi wakan el wakan ki chiu zapi ksto. Tipi wakan el wakan ki chiu zapi yellow. And this is a live question. When did he die? Dohant ahe. Dohant aho. Number 16, it's impossible. Echon pichashni ksto. Echon pichashni yellow. Number 17, how far away does he live? Daya trehan. Oh, dohan ya trehan ti hai. Dohan ya trehan ti ho. Dohan ya trehan ti hai. Dohan ya trehan ti ho. Number 18, do your work well. Woashi nitawa ki taya ichunwe. Woashi nitawa ki taya ichunwo. 19, I hope. Wachi ye wakie ksto. Wachi ye wakie yellow. And number 20, they were thoroughly scared. Ihankia wakokpapi. Ksto. Ihankia wako kapapi yellow. So that was 20 sentences. We started with 304 sentences from last group, and we added 20, so we got up to 324 sentences that we've completed or presented. And so that is a very great accomplishment for you. We'll go back and review some of them as time permits. This is a story, Iktomi story, that has many sections to it, but I'll just tell you the first section of it. And it's from the old legends portion. And it's about Iktomi. And it's about a bird. Iktomi and his wanderings through the wooded lands, Iktomi saw a rare bird sitting high in a treetop. Its long fan-like tail feathers had caught all the beautiful colors of the rainbow. Handsome in the glistening summer sun sat the bird of rainbow plumage. Iktomi hurried hither with his eyes fast on the bird. He stood beneath the tree looking long and wistfully at the peacock's bright feathers. At length he heaved a sigh and began, "Oh, I wish I had such pretty feathers. How I wish I were not I. If only I were a handsome feathered creature, how happy I would be. I'd be so glad to sit upon a very high tree and bask in the summer sun like you," said he suddenly, pointing his bony finger up towards the peacock, who was eyeing the stranger below, turning his head from side to side. "I beg of you, make me into a bird with green and purple feathers like yours," implored Iktomi. Tired now of playing the brave. I'm tired now of playing a brave and beat buckskins. The peacock then spoke to Iktomi. "I have a magic power. My touch will change you in a moment into the most beautiful peacock if you can keep one condition." "Yes, yes," shouted Iktomi, jumping up and down, patting his lips with his palms, which caused his voice to vibrate in a peculiar fashion. "Yes, yes, I could keep 10 conditions, if only you would change me into a bird with long, bright tail feathers. Oh, I am so ugly, I am so tired of being myself. Change me, do it." Hereupon the peacock spread out both his wings and scarcely moved them. He sailed slowly down from the tree and landed upon the ground. Right beside Iktomi, he alighted. Very low in Iktomi's ear, the peacock whispered, "Are you willing to keep one condition, though hard it be?" Yes, yes, said Iktomi. "I've told you 10 of them I need, if need be," exclaimed Iktomi with some impatience. "Then I pronounce you a handsome, feathered bird. No longer are you Iktomi, the mischief maker." Saying this, the peacock touched Iktomi with the tips of his wings. Iktomi vanished at the touch. There stood beneath the tree 2 handsome peacocks, while one of the pair strutted about with a head turned aside as if to be dazzled by his own bright-tinted tail feathers. The other bird soared slowly upward. He sat quiet and unconscious of his gay plumage. He seemed content to perch there on a large limb in the warm sunshine. After a little while, the vain peacock, dizzy with his bright colors, spread out his wings and lit on the same branch with the elder bird. "Oh," he exclaimed, "how hard to fly! Brightly tinted feathers are handsome, but I wish they were light enough to fly." Just then the elder bird interrupted him. "That is the one condition. Never try to fly like the other birds. Upon the day you try to fly, you shall be changed into your former self." "Oh, what a shame that bright feathers cannot fly into the sky," cried the peacock. Already he grew restless. He longed to soar through space. He yearned to fly above the trees, high upward to the sun. "Oh, there, I see a flock of birds flying thither. Oh, he said, flapping his wings. "I must try my wings. I'm tired of bright feathers. I want to try my wings." No, clucked the elder bird. The flock of chattering birds flew by with whirring wings. "Oop, oop," called some of their mates. Possessed by an irrepressible impulse, the Iktomi peacock called out, "Hey, I want to come. Wait for me. And with that, he gave a lunge into the air. The flock of flying feathers wheeled about and lowered over the tree whence came the peacock's cry. Only one rare bird sat on the tree, and beneath on the ground stood a brave in brown buckskins. "I am my old self again," groaned Iktomi in a sad voice. "Make me over, pretty bird, try me this once again," he pleaded in vain. Old Iktomi wants to fly. We cannot wait for him, sang the birds as they flew away. And that's the end of the story. Iktomi, he was given a good gift and he didn't appreciate it, so he lost that gift. And the story continues on. I'll add on to it as we go into the next program. But at this time, I believe my time is done here. So, akeo wana meglusta lo mitakio pi taya nagamta nakaki na wopila tranke prelo na ke wana wagniktelo na asni wakinktelo na optela la hechi dikte istima makahanta she mayuchi jabsnyo na pentu washte waji you hop watok shake let you walk the lo uha mitakiasi.